Hey, how you doing? It's Brad Tragic, back once again for another video. And today I'm doing upload a lot of videos while my wife is gone. Be able to get on here and talk about some stuff. This is going to be a wrestling spotlight. So basically, this is like what you call like somebody like freelances or whatever. Because I had no idea what wrestler I'm going to do. So I had to think about it. What wrestler could I do with a storied career that I could talk about in great length? And basically, I thought about, well, somebody who I don't really know much about. Let's go with Edge. Go in the Hall of Fame this year. He's basically the big kahuna this year at um, WrestleMania, going in the Hall of Fame. So, figured, hell, I'll give it. And I'm not a huge fan of Edge. So, this will be pretty good. See what I can find out about him. Okay, have to find. Okay, I'm gonna have trouble finding the Wikipedia page because I do go to Wikipedia and I look on him because I don't know much about his entire career. So it's good that I go here. I'll try and find. There we go. There we go. All right. So Edge. All right. So Adam Copeland. If you didn't know who his real name was, his name is Adam Copeland. He was born in 1973, and he is officially retired now. Well, yeah. I'm assuming it's not a work. So yeah, he is acting now, and he was known. He's more popular for known as Edge. And it says right here he's under a Legends contract. So that's pretty cool. He's actually got a Legends contract now. He was trained by Sweet Daddy Siki and Ron Hutchison. He did wrestle, and he started in the 1990s. He competed in the singles and tag team competition. All in total, he won 31 championships while in the WWE, including 11 World Championships, WWE Championship 4 times, World Heavyweight Championship 7 times, 5 Intercontinental Championships, 1 United States Championships, 14 Tag Team Championships, a record 12 World Tag Team titles, and 2 WWE Tag Team Championships. And is one of the only 2 wrestlers, Kurt Angle being the other one, who has held every currently active male championship in WWE. My neighbors are annoying. And then he did win the 2001 King of the Ring tournament, and the inaugural Money in the Bank ladder match in 2005, and the Royal Rumble match in 2010, making him the only wrestler in history to achieve all 3 of those accomplishments. Did not know that about Edge. And he did appear in the 2000 fantasy film Highlander Endgame, and made guest appearances on television shows including The Weakest Link, Might Have Been Sia, Deal or No Deal, Haven, Mad TV, and made his movie debut as leading actor in WWE Studios' Bending the Rules, which seems to be coming out very, very soon. And he's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame this year, the reason for this video, I believe. So let's get into the early life of Edge. So this is stuff that I'm not going to know anything about, so I can't really talk exclusively about, but, here we go. He was born in 1973. He was born in Orangeville, Ontario, Canada. And at a young age, he became interested in pro wrestling. And you always see him talking about Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 6. That in a lot of videos, he talked about, that was his favorite moment. He remembers as a kid. And I guess he won an essay contest with Silly's Gym, offering free wrestling training to whoever could write a good essay explaining why they would want to become a professional wrestler. As a result of the win, he got trained by the 2 wrestlers I talked about earlier, Sweet Daddy Siki, and Ron Hutchison in Toronto. Not really sure who those guys are. Copeland put his wrestling aspirations aside to help pay the bills, and he held a lot of jobs. He went to Humber College and he graduated with a diploma in radio broadcasting. That's pretty interesting. And then his career started. Through the 1980s, he wrestled on the independent circuit, um, and he wrestled under Sexton Hardcastle. He became a part of the tag team Sex and Violence with Joe Legend. And then also in the mid 90s, he wrestled for promoter Tony Condello in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And he wrestled under Adam Impact. That was his name there. And then during 1997, Sex and Violence became part of a larger stable known as Thug Life, made up of Legend, Joe Legend, Sexton Hardcastle, Christian Cage, Copeland's childhood friend, Jason Resso, who you later find out was Christian in WWE. Zach Wilde, which I'm assuming is not the same guy as musician. Bill Skillion, and Rhino Richards during his independent career, not Richards. He won the ICW, MWCW Midwest Unified Tag Title holder alongside Joe Legend. The duo of Hardcastle and Cage were known as Hard Impact before changing their name to the Suicide Blondes. They also worked in Japan under the name the Canadian Rockers. Copeland also wrestled briefly as Damon Stryker against Kevin Sullivan and Ming on separate episodes of WCW Pro. Huh, pretty cool. Didn't know that. Copeland was asked to wrestle in WWF match in 1996, now known as WWE. Wrestler Bret Hart, who saw Copeland wrestle, put in a good word for Copeland, which ultimately resulted in Copeland receiving a development contract with WWE in 1997. He made his debut as Sexton Hardcastle the night after Hart left the company. Pretty cool. In 1998, Copeland made his WWE television debut on June 22nd episode of Raw is War as Edge, a loner character who entered the arena through the crowd for his matches. His character's persona includes him, aimlessly walking around the city streets and assaulting innocent pedestrians. His first televised match was against Jose Estrada Jr., which ended prematurely by countout, when Edge performed a somersault senton from the ring to the outside, legitimately injuring Estrada's neck in his first pay-per-view match at SummerSlam in August. He served as Sable's mystery tag team partner against Jacqueline and Mark Marrow and body slammed Sable onto Marrow in a pinning position to pick up the win. Edge was then placed in the feud against vampire wrestler Gangrel. During the feud, Gangrel introduced Christian Cage, now going with his Christian, Edge's storyline brother, as his ally. Eventually, Gangrel and Christian convinced Edge to join them, and the three of them, created the Brood, and we all know this. This is where, I know what's going on. I know, from now on, I know the history. And then the Brood was, it was later abducted and converted into the Undertaker's Ministry of Darkness. They were absorbed into there, and then in May 1999, the Brood broke away from the Ministry after Christian was attacked by Kern Shamrock, and, were forced to reveal the location of Stephanie McMahon. And then the Undertaker chose to have Christian punished for his trespass, but Edge and Errol stood by him and betrayed the Undertaker, leading to a brief feud with the Ministry. And then that basically, kind of went away. And then Edge captured his first single championship as the Intercontinental Champion in 1999, defeating Jeff Jarrett at a house show in Toronto, Ontario. He lost the title the next night to Jarrett at Fully Loaded. Wow, okay. Later in the year, he was placed in a storyline angle with the Hardy Boys. Soon, however, Gangrel betrayed both Edge and Christian and formed a new Brood with their enemies, the Hardy Boys. They feuded with the Hardy Boys as they went on to compete in a ladder match at No Mercy in October for the managerial services of Terry Reynolds in U.S. $100,000, which Hardy Boys won. WrestleMania 2000 on April 2nd, Edge and Christian defeated the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys to win the Tag Team Championship in the Triangle Ladder match. All right, I'll stop reading now. And then following that victory, Edge and Christian went on and had a great tag team title run. And then eventually, they had to break up. So, Edge went solo in 2001. And during that, he won the King of the Ring. He won the Intercontinental Championship. And then he lost the belt to Test. And then that led for him going for the WCW US United States Championship during the whole Alliance angle, or the Invasion angle and everything like that. And of course, that was merged to unify the Intercontinental Championship with that title at the time, back in the day. And then he was in a feud with William Regal for the Intercontinental Championship, along the way, and other people. But then in 2004, he captured the World Heavyweight Championship. Um, okay. Okay. Yeah, then a lot of things went on. I mean, Edge was a tremendous superstar. He won World Championship. He had a feud with Matt Hardy and became Mr. Money in the Bank in 2005. He had a feud with John Cena. I think it's what really catapulted his career is the feud with John Cena. Um, and I'm not going to really talk much more past that because if you haven't seen those things, they're all on DVD right now. You can watch. But I mean, Edge had a tremendous career. I think the one thing that stands out in my mind is the live sex celebration with him and Lita on Raw. Him and John Cena, believe it or not, it was a tremendous feud. I mean, that feud probably, I think a lot of people go back and say, what was the best feud John Cena's ever had in, what was the year on that? Yeah, I mean, in the mid 2000s, um, or around in the 2000 era, what feud really was one of John Cena's best, and I think a lot of people would say Edge's feud with John Cena was actually pretty damn good, and it actually kept you entertained because Cena would batter back and forth with Edge, and of course Edge would have the better hand. He would always talk better than John Cena at the time, but it seemed to me like they both were on. They were right matched in each other a lot, and Edge had a lot of charisma, and John Cena had a lot of charisma at that time. And people were, for John Cena, they were against Edge, and some people would actually, cheer Edge because some of the comments he made would make people laugh. And having to read the bad side, hot chick, didn't help either. It did help as well. Um, I mean, there was a lot of things going on at the time that kind of helped them to keep that storyline strong. Uh, and I think it helped too because I think right before that happened was or right at the same time was going on was Jericho and Christian um, was around that time as well, and that feud was hot. It was red hot. Um, I mean, you can't get any hotter than that feud, and I think that kind of helped Edge at the time because Christian was in a hot feud, and I think at times they would have Chris Jericho tag with Edge, or Christian tag with Edge, and every once in a while, and I don't know if they ever had a tag match where it was Jericho and Cena. I don't really think that they ever did back in the day, but I could be wrong about the Christian and Edge thing, but I do remember I just think it might have helped Christian and Jericho, and it might have helped Edge and John Cena at the time because that feud was kind of I don't know if it was developing or had finished already. I'm not really too sure, but I know that feud was around that time, so it may have helped that storyline. I'm not too. I could be talking out of my ass. I don't remember too much. Um, yeah, that's really basically the gist of everything that happened. I know I mean, I missed a lot of the later memories, so I don't really want to talk about them because I'd just basically be reading and I'd be really boring. I do want to point out that on the April 11th episode of Raw, Edge did give a speech about his career and talked about wrestling, and he mentioned that took more tests about passing his basic strength tests, with a doctor, and MRI forced him to retire, leading to the announcement that he had a neck injury and he couldn't wrestle anymore. And that's the reason. And then later that same week, Edge officially relinquished the World Heavyweight Championship, retiring as the world champion. So. And also another moment to realize is at WrestleMania 27, it was his last in-ring match against Alberto Del Rio, and he did walk out with the World Championship. But the question to me is, and I think I've heard this question a lot, is that why at the time, if they knew Edge was somewhat injured, didn't they have Edge drop the belt to Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania? And that's a good question. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. The Edge went out the year before, had a great match, had a great moment at WrestleMania. And maybe that's the reason too, is because they knew he was injured. They wanted him to have that defining moment, and him destroying Alberto Del Rio's car at WrestleMania was pretty good too. I believe it was a ladder match at WrestleMania. I could be wrong. Um, but yeah, there you go. Um, so Edge, great superstar. Glad to do that wrestling spotlight. I know I did some other ones. I definitely check out the other one. I got. I believe I got. I think I uploaded that. I don't remember. I think I did the one on Benoit. I wanted to get that one out of the way, and I did some other ones. So definitely check that out, and I will catch you on the flip side. 15 minutes long, not too bad. Didn't go over 20, so that's good. Later. It's been the Wrestling Spotlight, Edge.